All right, everybody, welcome back. This is Word with Ty Brownlow. I have the podcast going on today. First and foremost, I just want to say to everybody out there, man, please be careful. Take all precautions to your safety. You know, it's trying times out here. We just want to make sure everybody is safe and mentally sound. All right, but we're gonna get right into this show today. I got a very, very special guest. I got a couple of words of pretty much about my guest. Let me give them to you. Coach, mentor, influencer, Sigma. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Coach Chris Smith of the Bollingbrook Lady Raiders. Excuse me. Oh, Lady Raiders. I'm sorry, sir. Give it up.
No problem.
How are you?
I am all good. How you doing?
Man, we are all good. We are blessed to have you today.
I appreciate being here.
Man, let's get right into these questions. All right.
Yes, sir.
Cool. So tell us a little bit about yourself. How did you get into coaching and how did you find yourself at Bollingbrook?
Well, the crazy thing about it, I've been a sports fanatic my whole life. So I end up getting into the coaching realm, started with my daughter about 17, 18 years ago.
Oh, wow.
My daughter decided she wanted to try her hand in basketball. So what the heck? I'm a sports fanatic. I know basketball. I play basketball. So I'm going to coach your team. Me and Ryan Eder, when I'm fresh from Lewis, we coached a team together out here with the Bollingbrook Panthers AAU program.
Okay.
An in-house program.
Okay.
So, from that, it's funny because my daughter stopped playing, and for some reason, I kept going. They stopped, and I kept going, and my whole purpose of doing this was for them.
Okay, so then you just found yourself I came here for you. You don't want to do this anymore. Now I'm here for them, and now...
Yeah, it's funny because, once again, because I've been that sports person my whole life, that sports fanatic, I stayed with this Panther program, and from there, Panthers led me into getting into high school coaching because after doing Panthers for so many years, and I still run this Panther program now, this is my 18th year running this Bollingbrook Panthers AAU program. So we have an in-house and a travel program. I started off running that in-house program, and then I've taken over the travel program. And that's what really got me all started into this. And then from there, about 10 years ago, well, about 13 years ago now, wow, I got my first opportunity to coach on the high school level at Martini Catholic.
Okay.
So I coached at Martini Catholic for 3 years as an assistant. I won 2 state championships there in Class 3A.
Okay.
Left there and went to Joliet Catholic for 3 more years. And then as an assistant coach, and then from Joliet Catholic, the job opened up at Bollingbrook High School. They reached out to Joliet to get my information, and the old head coach at Bollingbrook who left, Tony Smith, is a very good friend of mine, kind of recommended me for the position. Me and him had talked about it, and then now I just completed my 7th season at Bollingbrook High School.
Wow.
So I was able to bring together the Bollingbrook travel basketball program and the Bollingbrook High School together. So now it's just one joint community.
Man, well, you know what? That is amazing. So let me just ask, what is your philosophy, as far as your players go, as far as character? For example, when it comes to school, when it comes to their behavior out in public, what philosophy do you try to install into them?
Well, I think, we try to keep things simple. We talk about this term people use called a student athlete.
Okay.
We concentrate on the breakdown of that terminology because the word student comes first. Athlete comes second. So that's kind of how we build things. We want to be a student first. First and foremost is our work in the classroom, how we carry ourselves in public is a reflection of how we will play on the court. So we kind of use that 3-pronged approach to kind of mold and shape our kids starting at a young age. Because our philosophy doesn't change, whether it's dealing with my Panther program or with my Lady Raiders program. Our mentality has always been, and the philosophy has always said, it took me 17 years to pay off my student loans for college. 17 years. I paid back a ton more than what I borrowed. Someone took a nice, good vacation off the money I paid back. So now we want to, in turn, teach these kids and educate these young ladies on how to use basketball as a vehicle to pay for your college education.
Okay. All right.
So we have a simple concept that says, I could go to college on whatever level, Division 1, 2, 3, NAIA, whatever level, and play college and get a free education. You want, the game is over. And honestly, I tell them all the time, beat the system. If you could go and graduate in 3 or 3.5 years with your bachelor's, then that school, based off your athletic scholarship, is really on the hook to pay for your master's. So now you could come out there with a bachelor's and a master's, you ain't paid $1. Game over at that point.
Okay. Well, man, no. I mean, but that's the game of life. You know, you're teaching them how to manage, you know, their talents, you know, and make things work for them, which I think is very underrated in today's society.
Because, you know, the one thing that I have to teach them and really make them understand, because the men's game is so popular from a financial standpoint as well. On the women's side, we got to understand the truth. There is no $10 million contract waiting for us at the end of the rainbow.
Yeah, that's true.
It's not. How are you going to be prepared on the day when the ball stop bouncing? Because if we don't know nothing else, we know one day the ball going to stop bouncing.
That's true.
When the ball stop bouncing, are you prepared for the next phase of your life?
Okay, well, man. So you know what? That takes me right into my next question, and I think I know how you're going to answer this, but I'm going to ask it anyway.
Okay.
In your opinion, what makes a good coach different from a great coach?
Great coaches are not only concerned about on the court.
Right.
Good coaches only concerned with what takes place on the court, whether or not we win or lose. Great coaches concerned about what's going on, whether you win or lose, and then what happens, like I just said, when the ball stops bouncing.
Yeah.
And I think a great example of that is, as you know, the college basketball season just, you know, all sports ended. The NCAA set everything down like the professionals did. I have 3 of my seniors who was playing. One, Nicole Ikamu, playing at Florida State. Brittany Patrick, starting point guard at Southern Illinois in Carbondale. And Alicia Gullish played at Lincoln in Missouri. So all 3 are former players of mine. All 3 started on their collegiate team. Florida State was ranked top 10 team in the country. This is their senior year. They were going to be a number 4 or 5 seed in the tournament. Guess what happened? The ball stopped bouncing. And, you know, they all upset about it and every day crying, I want that extra year eligibility. And I tell them, no. You know, I sent all 3 of them a message and I just flat out told them, this is what we talked about when we first got together in 4th and 5th grade. The day is going to come when this ball is going to stop bouncing. This is what we've been prepared for. I told them the same enthusiasm and work ethic they used when they was a freshman in college to be on that team, now it's time to use that same work ethic to apply to the rest of their life. Because the next phase of their life started prematurely, but it started.
That's real. And you know what? I figured that's how you were going to answer the question because you are a great coach, man. Like, I believe in giving people their flowers while they are here. That's why you're on this show. I've watched your success over the years, man. Over the years, you've sent young women, girls off to be women, you know what I'm saying? Yes. And they have come back to, like, you know, tell you how much, you know, that has meant to them. And man, like, you just said it, like, you have prepared them for the day that the ball would stop bouncing. In these days and times, the ball, everything is stopping, you know, pretty much. But like how you prepare for what happens after this matters most.
Right.
Great coach. All right. So let's stay a little bit on players a little bit. So being a coach, I know you come across tons of players with talent. Sometimes when certain players have that ego to go along with that talent, how do you take on the situation if it's detrimental towards the team, even if their parents are involved?
Right. And especially in today's age where parents are way more involved than what it was when we was growing up playing.
Mm-hmm.
I think the biggest thing now is you have to develop that one-on-one relationship with your kids. When I say kids, I mean players. And just like I'm realistic about life, all my players don't like me, but all my players gonna learn we gotta work with me. We have to work together, because another thing we know in life, you're not gonna like everybody you work with. You're just not. You're going to disagree with me, and I'm going to disagree with you. But as long as I am the coach and you are the child, it's the thing in life. We're gonna respect adults and our elders. And as much as just like we were as kids, we didn't agree with everything our parents said, our teachers said, our coaches said. Mm-hmm. But because you are an adult, I'm gonna learn to accept it and keep moving. And that's what it takes now about really getting the kids to understand. And I think a lot of it is you have to be able to create that one-on-one relationship and let them know everything is not going to be hunky-dory. We're going to have some bad moments. Mm-hmm. You take the good, you take the bad, and what the whole son said, you put them together, and that's where you get the facts of life.
All right, he went old school. He went 80 for us. Okay, all right. I got you, Mrs. Garrett. All right, okay. What's up? All right, okay. Well, you touched on this earlier, but let's just go into it just a little bit more. You talked about your former players who are now in college and how their senior year was, basically they had this big, basically their season came to an end. So not all athletes get to go to the next level, as you know. When you have a player whose desire is to play at the next level and they do fall short, I know you talked about it earlier, but expound on it a little bit more about the ball not bouncing one day. What other advice do you offer them, to go into that? Because that can be very detrimental to a person.
Yeah, because once again, we have to look at it and say, when you talk about, especially women's basketball, the same opportunity that's available on the men's side is not there on the women's side. There are opportunities to go overseas and play. But once again, we living in times today where living overseas as an American might not be the best thing to think about right now.
Yeah, right now, no.
I just, so you got to understand the situation. And because, women fight a different battle than men, you have to be mentally strong and mentally prepared. So that's where that classroom work comes into play. That's where that working hard mentality that we try to develop on the basketball court, that translate, if I work hard on the court, I can work hard off the court. And protecting your image. And I'm really big on that point of really getting the ladies to understand, protect your image. Because the one thing you always have is your image, and you control it. I control my image, I control my perceptions. And so we really big on trying to teach that concept to these young ladies and use the recognition that comes from being a successful ball player to carry you when the ball does stop bouncing. So you create, in the world of athletics, you create a lot of contacts. And it's no different than, you think back to joining a fraternity. We created a lifelong list of contacts that will carry us for the rest of our lives.
True.
Basketball and athletics is no different. You create a list of contacts, take care of your contacts, and your contacts will take care of you.
Hey, man. Now, see, those are... We're going to get into the fraternity stuff in a second. I got a couple more questions, but that sounds like some advice that someone has passed down to you, that you have passed on to someone else. And that is very sage advice, man. And, as I said before, especially being a coach, you are a influencer. Like, these ladies look up to you, whether they, come to practice, mad or happy or whatever. You are the constant person that they look forward to seeing, and they're going to take your advice on whatever, before anything else. And I think that's real cool.
One thing with that as well is what we call the quid pro quo of life is this. You stood on somebody's shoulders to get to where you are as a player. Now that the ball has stopped bouncing for you, it's time to let someone else stand on your shoulder. And that's what we try to, you stood on someone else to get here. Right. Now it's time for someone else to stand on you to get to where they need to get going.
Okay, man, look here. So what's the one thing or the message you want to tell parents about coaching their children? Or what's the one thing you want people to know about Coach Smith?
The biggest thing, and we live in a world right now where patience is not a virtue anymore. But it's a simple phrase that we say all the time among trust the process. Trust the process. And everyone's process is going to be different, but there is a thing called a process. We live in a times where people want immediate results, and it just don't happen. Some people get immediate. Some people process going to be a little bit longer than others.
Right.
Regardless how good your freshman daughter might be, she can't skip the next 3 years of high school and go straight to college. It just doesn't work that way.
Right.
You could be a superstar coming out of 8th grade, but guess what? You can't forego high school and go right to college. So trust the process. And that's the big thing, because we live in a world where trust is not really a popular word right now.
Yeah, I mean, and you hinted on it earlier, especially in the men's game where you have social media, you have all these other outlets, and there's like a big divide somewhat in the men's game. In the women's game, I believe they're still fighting. And even though you have some of the, in my personal opinion, some of the more superior talent, in the game right now, I mean, because women are taking over, man, like the women's game. So that's one thing I wanted to ask you. How has the game for you changed from when you first started to now?
The game is much more quicker. It's much more athletic, where so much when I first started was really, it was 98% fundamentals. It's just fundamental. The girls' game was fundamentally stronger. That's a fundamentally strong game. The game has evolved. It has maintained its fundamental value. But boy, we are a ton more athletic than we were, 15 years ago.
That's true.
But now you see a lot of girls dunking now in games, smacking a backboard, just playing time, just unbelievable. And the girls' game wasn't played above the rim. It was, we always talk about the boys' game is played above the rim. The girls' game is played below the rim. Now the girls are elevating their game to be able to play above the rim as well.
That is very true. I've never really thought about that, but I think about certain players, even in the WNBA now, when you watch certain players. I mean, I'm out here on the West Coast, so I get to see a lot of Sparks. I don't see my Chicago Sky, but that's okay. Though. We ain't gonna talk about that. But I get to see like the Las Vegas Aces, and I think about T. Young, because I know she used to play for the Sky. But I watch her, and just watching her run around and jump and do all kinds of stuff, I'm like, man, dude, if she was playing 15 years ago, she would be a freak of nature.
Yep. Totally different. If you just watch the game and see how many more lob plays you see, just something simple as that, where you look at alley-oops being tossed in the girls' game now. And it's just amazing because, 15, 20 years ago, when no one throwing no alley-oop for layup back then. It just wasn't.
Right. Like, no, you wasn't getting that. No.
Some of the N1 moves have come into the women's game now, where the sick crossover, spin move, just some of the trickery that takes place wasn't in the girls' game. That's in the girls' game now.
Okay. All right. Hey, man. Look, so, I've enjoyed talking all this stuff about, you and your accolades as a basketball coach, but let's talk about this Sigma business for a second here, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right. So you are a Sigma. Tell me about your relationship with Phi Beta Sigma. Where did you pledge? How did you get started? What was your influence?
So I pledged in the spring of '91 at the Zeta Mu chapter at Brownlow University.
All right.
And what a lot of people don't realize is my brother pledged in 1985 at the Alpha Beta chapter at Jackson State University.
Wow.
So in '85, I was still in 7th grade. So people don't realize I've been raised in Sigma. So I knew from on the first day I walked on Brownlow University campus, and I went up to James Fitzpatrick and I told him, he had on his left, I'm going to be a Sigma. And they won't look at the freshman walking on campus, first day on the yard, you see someone with Greek letters, oh yeah, I'm going to do this.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And so, they looking at me cross-eyed and then laughing, joking. And then next semester, they calling me frat though.
See? So there you go.
I was fortunate enough to have the requirements where I was able to pledge second semester of my freshman year.
Hey, man, that's key because, trust me, you and I both know a lot of people don't get that privilege.
Exactly.
Okay. All right. Well, man, what influence has Sigma had in your life, if any, to this point?
A lot, because once again, we talk about, let's talk about being, a freshman in college, coming from the inner city of Chicago, where I wasn't coaching. Just wasn't. I still got city life in me. I knew about the street life, and Sigma helped culture me and helped me understand. We talk about culture for service and service for humanity.
True.
And that's what Sigma brought to me. It brought me discipline. When you start understanding what we talk about, the 12-inch rules and how you use those in your everyday life.
Yes.
And just actually seeing brothers who were seeking higher education and the older brothers on campus who was doing their thing and making a transition into the real world. And you start to think and look back like, whoa, okay, this is a different path than what I was originally thinking about this.
Yes.
And it just helped prepare me and keep me grounded. And it actually helped me a lot and calm and patience to help me coach kids now.
Okay. All right. And you need that to work with kids. Trust me.
Right. And we need some, humility, and sometimes we got to get grounded. And one thing we know about this process is it humbles you. I needed to be humbled. I was at a point in my life where I needed to be humbled. And being humbled helped carry me out through college and through my professional life as well.
Okay. Well, man, brother, see, I love these stories because that's just pretty much what the show's about. Like, no one is worthless. No story is worthless. Like, you have a story that needs to be heard.
Right.
And I appreciate you taking the time, man, to give us those words. But
we love anybody who get a chance to listen to them.
See, that's what's up. So I've come to my last question, and
Yes,
it's pretty much the question that the show's based off of. Mr. Chris Smith, what is the one word that best describes you and why?
Courageous.
Okay.
And it's simple. When I was 5 years old in our girl gardens, I had my leg ran over by a train and I lost my right leg because I was a product of my environment. Through the process of losing my right leg at the age of 5, it never prohibited me and it never stopped me from accomplishing the things that I wanted to accomplish in life. I played basketball, football, and baseball all through school. Went on to college, continued to get a college education, pledged a fraternity, and coaching in the world of athletics, as well as still working in my career in insurance. So that's why I will always use courageous as that term. And, it's a good thing. And I think sometimes some of my players might say it's a bad thing because the one thing I don't do well with is excuses. If I was able to accomplish the things I was able to accomplish in life, with an artificial leg and losing my leg at the age of 5, I don't do well when someone come up with an excuse on why they can't do something. Because if I'd have did that at the age of 5, then I would not be where I'm at today.
True words. Those are true words, man. Man, brother, hey, that's what's up, man. If anybody wants to get in contact with you, or just give you, well, first and foremost, do you have any shout outs for anyone? I mean, anybody you want to shout out?
First of all, I always give shout out to my family, because without the support of my family, none of this is available today as well. Mm-hmm. To the Bollingbrook community, who has embraced me and my concept over the last 18 years in this basketball world. The support I received not only from the Panthers program, but my Lady Raiders program at Bollingbrook High School, with my athletic director and my principal. And that's a big thing. And shame on me for not mentioning this earlier. In order to be successful, you got to have support. Yeah. Robert Rose and my athletic director, and Jason Paskavich, and the Bollingbrook Park District, where the Panther program is ran out of, they support me 110%. And without that support, once again, none of this is possible. So, I'm always grateful to the frat for educating me and turning me from a boy into a man. And for my kids for always smacking me in the head when my head gets too big.
Yeah, that's what they're there for. They're always there to remind you you're never too big.
Right.
Okay. Well, that's what's up, man. I totally appreciate you taking the time. And if someone wants to get in contact with you, how do people get in contact with you?
Well, social media, Twitter is B-Brook Basketball, Facebook, Bollingbrook Panthers, email Coach Chris 1914 @live.com.
Okay.
I'm a simple man to get in touch with.
All right. Well, that's what's up. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, that's Coach Chris Smith. I am Ty Brownlow. You can catch me on, YouTube at my page, Word with Ty Brownlow. You can also catch me on Facebook, on my fan page, Word with Ty Brownlow, and also on Instagram at Word with Ty Brownlow. Man, I appreciate everyone for tuning in. Once again, no one is worthless. No story is worthless. This is Ty Brownlow. We out. Peace.
Peace.
All right, brother. Let's